Are you ready, kids?
Aye, aye, Captain!
I'm still figuring it out, you know? I don't know how, but thankfully I have like friends around me who are like, IVC's like the go-to. And you know, like even talking to your professor right now, like they have so many like lives that they've been through. Yes.
They were excited about the college.
And so that's how I became an ambassador. And I was like, no way, like I like that.
Welcome to Valley Vibes, your show about the Valley's culture, arts, and happenings from a youth perspective. I'm Dr. Tom Tackey, the creator and executive producer of Valley Vibes. Today's episode features discussions about Imperial Valley College's Student Ambassador Program. And right now, I am joined by Todd Evangelist, the executive director of the IVC Foundation. So Todd, it's great having you here on the show.
Dr. Tackey, it's great to be here. I love talking about IVC and IVC Foundation, and in particular, the Student Ambassador Program.
You know, I've recorded their section already, and they are going to deliver a really fantastic thing. But why don't you tell us a little bit about what the student ambassadors are and your role with that, and then we'll segue into them.
Well, stay tuned because there'll be great folks here coming up shortly. But for us, the genesis of that particular program, it's been in existence, goodness, for 10 plus years, if not more, here at the college. And I'm actually recently have returned back to the college in this role. But I was here before. And so while I was here before is when we formed the Student Ambassador Program. And it's from the foundation. And if you're not familiar with the foundation at IVC, we're the nonprofit wing of the college where we try and raise support, resources, and certainly essentially donations for the college comes through our office. And so we're always trying to meet with people, share about the college. And it's one thing for an old guy like me to tell about how the experiences of the college or how great the college is. It's quite another thing when you have a student who's in classes and has a bright future ahead of them share a little bit about the value of an education, the value of a degree, and the value of the cost of tuition here at IVC.
Right.
Sharing those things from a student perspective is really different and unique and valuable, more valuable than anything I would say.
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
And so what we did is we were always trying to find a student for when we were going to go meet with some adults or meet with a Rotary Club or meet with prospective donors. We would try and find a student, and it just became a hassle. And so we had this bright idea, like, well, why don't we just start a group? And there was a couple things that needed to happen on campus with some ribbon cuttings here or tours there. And so we just said, these folks could maybe be ambassadors of the college and when they meet with prospective donors or they meet with whoever in the community. And so we, quickly just kind of came up with the name Student Ambassador Team. And we quickly flew the program, sought applications. I think the first time we did it, we weren't giving the students anything. We give them a little scholarship now, but in the beginning, it was just, hey, do you want to help us? And it was interesting. The students who applied, who signed up to do this, were the students who were interested in showcasing the good experiences that they had. They were excited about the college. They were happy to do it. And it really produced a group of students that was just phenomenal group of people. And we had such a great experience on it. We just I think the first group was maybe 6 or 7 students were on the team that first year. And after that, we kind of formalized it. We started giving them priority registration, which is, a gold ticket here at IVC.
Yeah, no fooling.
And we gave them a scholarship, and we gave them some roles, gave them some shirts, and gave them some expectations and some benefits. And the program has grown and continued to grow. While I was gone, I think they've added a leadership component, which we're including in this year, where we, in addition to what they do for the college, we also try and invest in them with some leadership training and some opportunities for them to meet and connect with leaders here in Imperial County. So it's certainly a benefit. I'd look at it as a big benefit to us, but I'd also like to think that it's a benefit back to them. So that was the early start of it, and it has been continuing to grow every year. This year we have a team of, I want to say 18 students here at IVC. Some of them are freshmen just new to the campus, and about half of them, and the other half are students who are returning ambassadors from last year. We always try and have a little bit of a mix.
You're absolutely right about that student perspective. That's something I've always said, that it's really important that we have that perspective included, because they're the ones that really know. They're the ones that are in the classrooms. They're the ones that are mostly benefiting from a good education.
Right. And I think that might be the theme of Valley Vibes, right? Is that
exactly it is.
That you have a student voice. You have people who are involved in whatever program or team or sport or club to share their perspective as a student. And it's one thing for somebody to hear what an old guy like me or you say about how great this program is. It's another thing to hear it from somebody who's actually involved in it and connected with it. And you can identify, as you're a student, you can identify with them and say, well, maybe this might be something I'm interested in, or if not that, then maybe something else.
Right. And you and I, as old guys, actually, we are facilitators for those youth. And, that's where I look at, I don't want to have too many of us on Valley Vibes all the time, but at the same time, we're very connected with those students. Right. And,
we've made it our careers.
Yeah, exactly. So, and the students that we're about to hear from, they represent Imperial Valley College really, really well.
That's good to hear.
It's like, I'm excited about, one of the girls is a freshman here. I had her as a student at Central last year, and she's always a great student and produced great stuff. But to hear her talk about IVC in the way that she does is it's impressive. I mean, she's really growing as a speaker and as a leader, and it's just cool.
Yeah, Andrea's great. You'll hear her shortly, but she does tend to put off a quiet facade.
Right, she does.
But the well is deep with her, and just a great young person that I'd love to hear more about it from her.
Absolutely. So, you'll be receiving the links to this show, and I think we're ready to bring those girls on. So
let's do it.
Thank you, Todd.
Thank you, Dr. Tacky.
Hi, my name is Andrea.
And I'm Natalie.
And we're college students from IVC, and we're just here to talk about our experiences, especially being student ambassadors. I'm a criminal justice major, and I became an ambassador at the beginning of the semester, and I've been really liking it.
Yes, and I am an environmental engineering major, and this would be my second year as a student for IVC. Yes?
Yes. So, Natalie, I'm wondering, how has your experience been now as a second year? Because I just started. I'm kind of getting into it, learning more about the program. I'm excited to do a second year. So how would you say overall?
Ooh, I think I love the ambassador program, I'm not going to lie. Like, I feel like the environment is always very, like, friendly. And even, like, when I was in my first year, the second years were always, like, very, like, much there and present. So it kind of made it easy for us that are repeating, like, the second year and everything to be like, oh, okay, it's going to be fun. Like, once you guys come in, like, let's try and make it as, like, community-based as possible.
Right.
You know? And so that's why every time, like, if you see Mariela, she's always, like, joking around with some of you guys.
She's so funny.
She is funny.
She really breaks the ice, to be honest. She broke the ice since the beginning. I feel like that's really important, especially like you said, community outreach. For IVC, it's really important that we have student-based leadership because we need to be closer. It's like a small community college. It's a small, town, cities. So that is important that we kind of break the ice with all the students.
No, yeah. And I feel like I feel like it bonds us too, because like all of the events that we've had lately. Well, as my second year, I wasn't able to go to the golf tournament, and I felt so bad because like
Oh, yeah.
last year, that was like our biggest event, and like that like brought us so close together because like we were literally like in the middle of nowhere
I know,
in a
for a
golf
whole
field.
day.
Yes,
Yeah.
but all the other stuff that we've done, honestly, so far, when it comes to like the leaders and just us being in the board meetings or us like doing like the work, I guess like we kind of do volunteer work in a way because we're like helping out every now and then.
Yeah, it's like a case-by-case basis, whoever can go.
Mm-hmm.
That is nice. It's nice to have a flexible schedule, but at the same time, when we are participating, like we're doing a lot and we're helping by a lot. So that's nice.
Yeah. Like last time when we both went, it was three of us, right? It was me, you,
And Cindy.
and Cindy. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you guys ended up helping out at the registering them,
That
right?
was, I didn't expect that at all. But it was nice. And they did need the extra help. So it's nice to know there's like a place
like
to help.
Yeah. And that's always been the case. Like even in my first year, we helped out with students from high school like coming into IVC and having like that, I guess, day to, I think it was a STEM day, and they were just all around and everything. And I guess they needed help like organizing the students, making sure that they went like to their designated places. Like each high school had like a designated seating area inside.
Oh, okay.
And so they definitely needed a lot of help with that. And I was like, oh, okay, so this is more of an idea of like what it means to be an ambassador, like kind of helping out volunteering and representing like the school. And I think we do a great job at it. I like everyone who's in there. Like,
yeah, me too.
we're so diverse, but at the same time, it's like when we come together, it's like, okay, like slay. Like we do so good.
Yeah. And that was the high school event, huh?
Yes.
And that was last year.
Did you go? Or
As a high school student, no, I didn't. I didn't have time. I think I was doing exams or something at the time that day. But I did hear that they had a lot of fun. It was like really nice for the students because, I mean, you have to know your options.
Yeah.
Maybe some people don't want to stay in IVC or they don't even want to go to college, university in general, but it gives them a chance to learn about what it is.
And I feel like a lot of people, like even nowadays, like after 2020, it's like you have a lot of social like anxiety because it's like you're coming out or like it's just been such
Yeah.
a while. And like I feel like we still like you can still see the effects to this day because like not a lot of people are as social as they used to be. So I feel like kind of breaking that ice and like being there and being able to like interact. I think I've learned a lot from that too because like I used to be so quiet and so shy. And then
Yeah.
when I joined, it just became easier to like conversate with people. It's like, I don't know, like the small talk, like that was always so hard for me. And once I like got in there, I was like, wait, like this is actually fun because you get to learn about these people. And like as much as you won't like necessarily create that long-term bond, like you still were able to learn about someone new and like have them be more comfortable around like that campus, which is something that a lot of people like have social anxiety about, I think.
I think
know
so
what I mean?
too. I
It's
think
like
so
that.
too.
And I even have friends that like do pure online and they'll be like, oh no, like it's like scary to go there. Like I don't know what people I'm gonna meet and everything. So like having that ambassador and being like, oh okay, like we can build a community. We can like volunteer and like make it fun for other people, you know?
Yeah, that's true. I feel like it's very normalized to take a lot of online classes at IVC. I think it's nice. You save money in a lot of ways. I mean, if you really think about it, but I don't think it's the best for being social or for being like integrated, especially with like the college life or in general, just socializing. So that's true. I do feel like there needs to be more outlets or for students to see that there is ways to be social, and it's not scary.
Yeah.
Especially at IVC, like we're close. It's a small school. It's nice.
Yeah. And I think something the ambassadors really like, well, our leaders like Monica and Todd, like they really emphasize on like networking with other people.
Yeah.
And even though my first year I wasn't as like networky with like board members or something like that, you know?
Mm-hmm.
As time went by, like I started realizing that I was like meeting like all these people that like had their businesses or like they were managers and like they had like this background of like having that leadership. And I was
Right.
just like, oh, okay, like I like that because I'm getting to like conversate with them and like learn more about what it is to like have a job or what they like. And like I can like kind of broaden my perspective too. And I think that's what I like about them, like the networking too. Like not only around the students, but also with like the board members. And like, I think I remember going to a board meeting and I met this guy. I think his name is Sean. I don't know what his name is, but I would always see him like in every single event. And I always wonder like what he was doing. And there was this one time we were at a board meeting and he was there. And you know, like even talking to your professor right now, like they have so many like lives that they've been through.
Yes.
And he happened to like be doing something when it came to environmental science. And I was like, no way, like I like that. And so like I was able to like create that connection. And so now I feel like confident in like actually getting maybe an internship or like a job where I can like do what I like when it comes to like environmental science, which is more like specific to like my major. And like I like that. Like it's like that it it gave me the chance to like connect with people that I never thought even lived here, you know?
Right.
Like in my head, like environmental science, I was like, oh, like no one knows this, you know?
Yeah, like you're saying, I feel like there's so many resources, not only at IVC, but as an ambassador. And about meeting people, it's not only about learning more about your path, but I mean, especially me as a first year, it's like you can learn about, well, what other options do you have in terms of like pathways? Like environmental science. I mean, I haven't been able to speak to board members or anybody like networking, like you said. It's only my first semester. But I mean, who knows? What if I meet someone who's in a sector like that or even business or just something I've never pictured myself in? Because I am an administration of justice major and my brain is very like, I want to do law enforcement. I want to get involved, you know, with my government. But who knows? Like, I can contribute to my community in different ways that like fulfills, you know, my own goals, but I'm still figuring it out, you know?
Yeah.
And you learn through having conversations, through learning about other people's pathways to where they are now. And yeah, you never know what might interest you or what other ways you can be a better person or add more to your community and be there for them.
Yeah. To add on to that too, because like I feel like it has a lot to do with like just getting to know everything around you. And I think even being an ambassador, like I'm a STEM major, so like I never even saw myself like being an ambassador until my friend was like, no, like you have to join. Like it's just like something for, it's like an experience more
Yeah.
so. And I started realizing that like it had a lot to do with like managing like your time, like doing volunteer work and everything. And you're like, not only am I doing something that's not STEM related, but it's like, for me, it was like more of like a government type of deal. And I was like, oh, I'm not doing anything of that. So like, why should I even like try it out? And then when I tried it out, I was like, okay, this is something new, but I think I like it. I like being able to like be around like these community, well, being around my community and like getting to know more about like what the Valley has to offer. Because even okay, this is gonna like kind of introduce like my origin story to like the
Yeah, no, yeah.
ambassadors. But when I was in high school, I never saw the Valley as being resourceful. Like, like all my family ever said, because I have family that lives in San Diego and Arizona. They're like, oh, you have to get out of the Valley because there's like literally nothing there for you. And so in my mind, I well, in high school, I just applied to universities. I did not apply to IVC at all.
Really?
Because my family was very adamant. They're like, oh no, like you should definitely like just go out, you know?
Yeah.
But I'm also a first generation student. So I did not know how to, and I did not know how to do FAFSA.
Oh,
That was like,
no.
I don't know, it was set for failure, kind of. But I ended up going to a university, and I didn't know about FAFSA. I didn't know. And it was a far away. It was 8 hours away from my parents.
Really?
So I had no idea of adulting. I had no idea how to get my classes, how to register, nothing. And my parents knew even less than I did because, well, they never went to college. My mom just went into an occupational program for nursing, and that's all she ever did. So
Yeah.
me not knowing how to register for my classes, where to go for help, like when it came to anything, like financial problems, like academic problems. And so when I went over there, well, part of it was also me getting sick. I had anemia, but I thought I had COVID. And so the doctors gave me antibiotics while I was anemic, and it was
Oh.
bad. And I lasted like that for quite some time. And I was also in the marching band. So
You
I was
were?
marching in the fields, yes.
Wow.
With low blood levels or low iron levels too. Like it was
Yeah.
both of those. So like I was constantly like out of breath, like trying to keep up with everything, not knowing, like I just thought I was like sick and I was gonna get it over with. But it just became worse and worse and worse. So and at that time my parents did not know how to get me back because they did not know what was happening to me, and I was telling them like, oh, okay, like I'm like health wise like just getting like worse. And so it was a struggle because not only did I have to like find a way to get back home without my parents' help, but I also, once I went back home, I could not come back because they did not have like the money to like get
Right.
me back, you know? And so I ended up coming back to the valley, and I got better. Like I went to the doctor, they figured it out and everything. But I felt so defeated, and I don't know how, but thankfully I had like friends around me who were like, IVC's like the go-to because like they have all these resources, like they can help you with almost everything. And they were not wrong. Like once I went into IVC and I wanted to register, not only did they help me with my FAFSA, like to find out like what was happening, like what was wrong with it, but they helped me like how to like register for classes. And it was like a lot of resources that I never got at the university because over there they just expected you to already know it. And
Definitely,
so
yeah.
yeah, it was very much of a breathtaking moment because I was just like trying to like redeem myself and like get my life back together after all of that happened. And well, that's when the Ambassador program came by, and
Yeah.
my friend was like, you should join, just like get to know like different people in there and everything. And I remember going into Monica's interview. So you know how like she interviews you and everything? And she was asking me, like, she was like, oh, so, like, why did you come over here? And so at that time, I was, like, freshly, like, out of coming back from myself. And I was in this place where, like, I was crying a lot because I did not know what I was doing. And I thought of myself as, like,
Yeah.
a failure in a way.
Oh my
'Cause-
gosh. That's so overwhelming.
Yes.
And to
it
have to like
was.
interview for a
Yes.
position. I mean, we're all very close. It's not like so like strict or like, you know, I'm pretty sure you felt that way though.
Yeah.
That it might have been like maybe there was expectations on you, but I can totally picture
Yes.
Monica like just being there for you. Yeah.
Yes. No, she was. And like she made me feel so validated because she said that that happened to one of her sons in a way, and that like they ended up first coming to college, and then like she was just very understanding.
Yeah.
And I think that understanding and her like, because like my parents, when I came back, they didn't know what to do, you know, at the time, because it's like they never experienced that. I was their first child that ever like went to university, and I'm the first one that's like going through it, you know, through the college life. And so when Monica was so understanding and she could give me like perspective about like my situation and kind of like alleviate that pressure, because I did feel like I had like those high expectations on me. And so like going into that interview, it did feel like I had to prove myself or something for some
Right,
reason, you know?
yeah.
And so when we spoke about it, I kind of like began to cry because she was like kind of validating the fact that I did not need to like it was out of my control. And
Right.
I should have never been like ashamed of that
Mm-hmm.
because at the end of the day, like it's my life, and as long as I keep going, like that's good enough.
Right, not
Yeah.
just being stuck in the fact that
Mhm.
one thing didn't work out, but there's so many options, especially IVC, definitely.
Yeah. And so that's how I became an ambassador. Like I literally, me and Monica bonded, and then you know how they send out like the email and everything. So I was
Yeah.
like, I got it, and I was so excited. And after that, like, I think I began to see like how resourceful and how good IVC is. Like for some reason, they won the Aspen Award. So, you know,
No, first, a
Yes.
good reason. And like you said about like resources for when you don't know what to do, that's such an important perspective because for me, I was very fortunate that, well, the culture in my family was like going to college. My sisters were first generation. But the pathway was more of like saving money. So we all went to IVC, and I was fortunate enough to know how to do everything because they taught me. And for me, seeing those resources, it's very nice because I feel like a lot of people, more people need that than they admit or would want to admit or would want to go out looking for help. And that's the thing about IVC is they reach out to you first. Like they're very adamant. All of our programs, clubs are very adamant. And I really love that because students, especially freshmen, need that like reassurance that there's someone there first and they don't have to be like super lost looking around by themselves.
Yes. And I feel like that's what I love about IVC because it's like resources like pop here and there, and you're like, okay, like let me, like they'll push you into it too.
Like the emails, the
Yes.
website, or professors too. Like they'll just be like, oh, by the way, there's an event going on right now, and like my professors, yeah, definitely.
No, yeah. And I feel like, oh, okay, going into this is actually my life has been really like connected in some way because like after I got into the ambassadors, you know how they're like the foundation, so they kind of what's the word for it? They pay for a lot of departments, and one of them was the Department of Student Housing, and I never knew that because I only knew them as the ambassador program. Like I just knew Monica as like ambassador. I knew she was a part of like the IVC Foundation, but for me it was just pure ambassador. You know, like she's my leader. That's it. You know,
Right.
And I remember getting a job or like applying for this job for student housing department. So I was going to become like an assistant for them.
Oh, okay.
And I remember how things connected because she was like, oh, like we actually like help them out when it comes to like paying like the rent and everything. So like they manage the money. And
Oh,
so I was
wow.
like, wow, so like you guys do like that part. And ever since that, like she started, I guess, involving me in it and seeing like how like they're able to get sponsors so that way they're able to fund like the student housing, you know? And I felt very like grateful for that because I was like, damn, like they really go out of their way to like
They
get these
do.
sponsors and like make sure that the houses are there for the students, you know? And even like I feel like that's something that's never like been done where like a community college like builds these houses for these students that need the housing, you know? And I
And then on top of it, funding,
Yes.
sponsoring. Yeah.
like it's really fortunate, and I think like it's a lot of behind the scenes where like you don't see how much they work for this and you just see like the outcome, you know? And so for me, like when I went into the ambassadors and then I got the job, I was starting to realize like how much effort like every employee, well, most of the employees like put into like making sure that we have the resources that if any single person is struggling with maybe who has like a harder background, I can say, right?
Right.
Like they have like those resources to come out and like make a life for themselves. And I honestly like really admire that. like not only the student housing department, but we have like the career services center and then the Mesa Center. I love the Mesa Center.
Yeah.
Like they provide me with so many internships for like STEM
That's so
majors.
good.
Yes, and so I guess I have a lot of appreciation for IVC because of the
Yeah.
resources.
Yeah, me too, definitely. And like you said, of like seeing Monica or Todd just like in the way of like our advisor or our leader, but like you got involved in a separate way, not only through ambassadors, and again, you get introduced to so much more.
Yes.
And yeah, the appreciation gets a lot deeper that way.
Yeah, and it's like a lot of stuff that I never knew, like the Valley or like even the college provided. Like for me, I don't know if this was the same situation as you, because I do know like your sisters went to IVC, but
Yeah.
because I didn't have anyone that from my family that went to IVC or anything, like most of the talk that I got was like, oh, like, you know, like IVC is just a community college. Like it was like kind of looked down upon
Right. That, yeah.
as opposed to like a UC school or SCSU or something, you know? So when I started realizing like there was actually like a lot of benefits to going to community college, I just started telling my sisters, I was like, okay, you know, I'm going to create this general path,
Yeah.
you know, and make sure that they know that, you know, they can still go to community college, save a lot of money, even dual enrollment. Like I didn't know about that. And so like I started getting like into that for them because I was like,
That's
okay, I want
so
them to like
good.
be on track and like make sure that, you know, they have a nice pathway. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember in high school, I was in my sophomore year, and my English teacher, she was like telling us like, do dual enrollment, do dual enrollment. And then at the end of the year, she's like, guys, like I had one of my students that she had so many dual enrollment credits that she graduated like right when she turned 17 from her associates. And I was just
That's
like, everybody was just like processing like how, and it's free classes. Like,
yes.
it's just crazy when you take the help, you learn about how much can be done for you.
No, yes. And then you benefit so much from it too. And even like that's crazy too. Like and
I know
she
when you
saved on-
really think about it, it's like the money saved, time saved.
Yes.
It's crazy.
She has her 6 years of FAFSA still. Like she does not need to waste like 2 years for her associates. Like no,
Exactly.
she went for it. She still has more years. Like there's a lot of benefits to that. And like, you know, you get closer to your job. It's there's a lot of time saved, I think. And I like that, you know? So I hope like I get to influence my sisters and like have them do dual enrollment as well. Because I was telling them like it's not that hard either because it's like the general classes. So like you can
Yeah.
do art, history, sociology. And I feel like those classes, well, when I took them, they were like pretty like interesting and easy to do because it was just a general class, you know?
Yeah. I did sociology and US history, American history.
Oh, okay.
And oral communications, which was interesting because it was like we were turning in videos of us talking, you know, because it's like dual enrollment. It wasn't like a speech class in a lecture setting, but yeah, those were really valuable classes. And I think it's nice, especially when you love to learn, to take classes that are a little bit more advanced than like your average high school class. It makes you feel like more ready to learn and more excited to want to learn about different things that apply to more like mature aspects of life.
Yeah, because you go more into depth about like the courses, and I'm like you. I'm like such a nerd because like I love learning. So like any class I will take, like even coming into college, there's more enthusiasm, and like the people that are there because they are passionate about that subject, you know?
Exactly.
And it's like you start liking that environment, and I ended up loving it too because like I've met a lot of people who are like so passionate about this, and like the environment becomes so like uplifting, you know? And I'm not bashing on universities, but it's so big to the point where like you don't have that community.
Definitely.
And so you don't end up really connecting a lot compared to like a community college. And I think I like that. Even like my Mesa Center, like that's become like my little safe space because like I'll just go in there. There's tutors that already like know their stuff, and then I have my friends there. So like if I have any problems with any higher up courses, like I feel so confident going to them and like knowing that like I won't be judged for not knowing or understanding.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like they're understanding you and your interests, and you all support each
Yes.
other through it.
It's really positive, and it's not really competitive, and I love that because
University is a whole other thing.
it's really, really competitive.
yeah.
And I'm like, why? I'm not a competitive person.
I
I'm more
get
of
that.
like
I get that.
Like, I want to learn. I love studying, but I do not want to compete against you.
Right, because it's like your interest. You want to enjoy that. You don't want to feel stress about like how
Yes.
good you are at it, you know? That's such a big university culture. And I think that adds to like not being able to connect as much, especially the more competitive the school. It's just like you are all going to prove something.
Yes.
And that can definitely take away from that positive college experience.
But I've learned a lot from being first generational student, from coming back and like joining IVC and seeing like how much resources they have, and in the community. I very much enjoy it. And I enjoy being an ambassador too. Like it's so fun. When I see you guys, I'm like, yes, okay.
Yeah.
You know?
And like we do our duties, but like we still have fun. It's a
Yes.
fun way to connect with everybody and to volunteer, and it's like you're enjoying yourself and others' company, and you know that you're doing something for like a greater cause at the same time. Like you're
Yes.
contributing to something.
Ooh, I think, okay, just this is like a, I guess like a teaser for you, but the end of the year celebration is so good. Like, it's not only meant for sponsors so that we can get more money for the student housing department, but it's like all the ambassadors are gonna go, and like we get to like dress up really nicely and like look at like the people who are investing into like our college and everything. But it's always, I feel like that for me, that was like the funnest, just because one, I felt very pretty, and two, like we were all there, and like just it was like an end of the year thing, so it felt really nice to be able to like connect with you guys, you know, in a different setting. Because like we all meet like at the board, no, not board meetings, but at the meetings we have. But then like when it comes to like our other jobs, like it's always like 3 of us or like
Right.
2, 4, you know, like it'll be like a smaller group. So getting out there, and because I also didn't get to be at the golf tournament, so I was like, okay,
Yeah.
that for me, that's like what I'm looking forward to, you know.
That's good. Yeah. I'm excited too. Like you said, most events are just like in pairs or threes.
Yeah.
So that's nice.
But yeah, that was good. I liked it. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just heard from 2 of the Imperial Valley College student ambassadors. Tune in next week when we will have a special show on coping with the stress of the holidays. Until then, have a great week.
This program was produced and brought to you by Sparring Sound Productions. Special thanks to our guest, IVC Foundation Executive Director Mr. Todd Evangelist, and IVC Student Ambassadors Andrea Moreno and Natalie Torres. Thanks also to Dr. Thomas Tacky, Creator and Executive Producer of Valley VibeZ, the administration of Central Union High School, Mr. Javier Fimbres, and Power 98 for hosting us. And to you, the listeners.